When most people think about intelligence, they picture someone who talks fast, debates loudly, or shows off what they know. But INFJs rarely fit that image. They are quiet, reflective, gentle, and often stay in the background. Because of this, people assume they are emotional rather than analytical, or sensitive rather than strategic. But the truth is very different. INFJs have a kind of intelligence that does not shout, compete, or draw attention to itself. It is subtle, quiet, and extremely powerful. INFJs think on a level that most people never see. Their intelligence hides beneath calm expression and soft behavior. They understand patterns that others overlook. They sense motives before anyone explains them. They come to accurate conclusions without needing endless information. Their mind works in a way that feels unusual to others, almost strange at times. But these odd traits are not flaws. They are signs of a unique kind of intelligence that operates behind the scenes. This intelligence shows in their intuition, their emotional awareness, their deep thinking, and their ability to sense what is coming before it happens. It shows in how they process the big picture, how they connect ideas, and how they understand people so precisely. It shows in their imagination, which is not fantasy, but a tool for problem solving. And it shows in their ability to stay calm while their mind is running layers of thought in the background. People often underestimate INFJs because they do not announce their intelligence. They speak slowly, think carefully, and take time to make decisions. But this is not a lack of ability, it is a sign of depth. Their intelligence builds on insight, not on noise. They need to understand something deeply, not quickly. They do not just memorize, they interpret, analyze, and connect. Over time, people start to notice something unusual. The INFJ is often right. Their observations come true. Their predictions make sense. Their ideas solve problems. Their advice hits the truth effortlessly. Their analysis feels almost too accurate. And people begin to realize that the INFJ is far smarter than they appear. This video explores 6 weird traits that prove the INFJ has a type of intelligence that many overlook. These traits may seem unusual, strange, or even confusing to others, but together, they reveal just how powerful an INFJ's mind really is. Trait number 1. They connect dots. No one else sees INFJs have a strange ability to understand things before anyone explains them. They see patterns where others see random events. They pick up emotional clues, small signals, contradictions, and subtle shifts that most people ignore. This ability makes them appear almost psychic at times. They come to conclusions that seem sudden, but in reality, their mind has been quietly connecting dots the entire time. Their brain works like a network instead of a straight line. One detail leads to another. A small expression reminds them of a past pattern. A tone of voice reveals more than the words spoken. A small behavior fits into a bigger emotional theme. Within moments, the INFJ understands the whole situation while others are still trying to figure out the beginning. This pattern-linking ability shows up early in life. INFJ children can sense when something is wrong in a room, even if no one says a word. They can predict how someone will react based on subtle cues. They observe family dynamics, friendships, and social situations with quiet accuracy. Adults may not understand how the child knows these things, but the child is simply reading patterns that others overlook. As INFJs grow older, this ability becomes even stronger. They can understand people quickly. They see the deeper motives behind behavior. They feel emotional tension before anyone talks about it. They can sense when a friendship is shifting, when someone is lying, or when something is about to fall apart. Their ability to connect emotional, logical, and intuitive information creates a picture that is far more complete than what most people can see. In problem-solving situations, INFJs use this ability to find solutions that are both creative and accurate. While others focus on isolated piece, the INFJ sees the whole system. They understand the root cause instead of reacting to symptoms. They spot hidden connections between events. They break down complex emotional or logical issues into meaningful insights. This trait often confuses people because the INFJ's conclusions appear out of nowhere. Someone might ask how they knew something, and the INFJ struggles to explain. Their knowledge comes from small observations that add up quickly, not from a single clear source. Their intuition works like a quiet engine, constantly creating a full picture from pieces that seem unrelated. This ability also makes INFJs excellent listeners. They hear the words, but also the underlying meaning. They pick up on emotional truth that others avoid. When someone shares a problem, the INFJ connects past experiences, emotional patterns, hidden fears, and possible outcomes in a single moment. They can give insight that feels both comforting and strangely accurate. Their dot connecting ability is one of the clearest signs of their intelligence. It is not flashy or loud, but it is incredibly powerful. People may not understand how the INFJ figured something out, but they cannot deny that the INFJ is often right. Trait number 2, they think in layers, not lines. Another weird trait that proves the INFJ is smarter than people think is the way they think. Most people think in a straight line. They take one idea, follow it step by step, and reach a conclusion. But INFJs do not think this way. Their mind works in layers, stacking thoughts, emotions, symbolism, and logic on top of one another until they understand the deeper meaning behind something. This layered thinking makes INFJs slow to speak at times because they are processing multiple levels of information at once. They are not just thinking about the present, they are thinking about the future, the past, the unseen patterns, and the emotional impact. Their mind can hold several perspectives at the same time. While others see a situation from one angle, the INFJ sees it from many. This layered thinking shows up in conversation. Someone may share a simple problem, but the INFJ instantly sees the emotional background, the deeper issue, the long-term consequences, the symbolic meaning, and the hidden fears behind the words. Their mind does not stop at the surface. It naturally dives deeper, exploring what others do not notice. This trait also makes INFJs excellent planners. They do not simply think about what is happening now. They think about how current decisions will shape the future. They consider how people will feel, how the situation will evolve, and what emotional patterns might appear later. This makes them extremely strategic, even if they do not appear that way on the outside. Because their mind is layered, INFJs often struggle in environments that reward quick, shallow thinking. They do not react quickly in debates, not because they are slow, but because they are processing so many levels of meaning. They want the full picture, not a piece of it. They think deeply instead of loudly. This depth also shows in how INFJs understand concepts. While others memorize information, INFJs internalize the meaning behind it. They analyze how each idea connects to others, how it applies to real life, and how it fits into the larger world. Once they understand something deeply, they rarely forget it. Their layered thinking is especially powerful in emotional or creative work. They create stories, ideas, solutions, or insights that come from more than logic. They come from intuition, emotion, and meaning. Their work often feels symbolic, original, and thoughtful because it comes from many layers of understanding at once. People often underestimate INFJs because their thinking is quiet, not loud. But those who know them well eventually realize something important. The INFJ is processing far more than they say. And when they finally share their thoughts, the depth behind their words reveals how intelligent they truly are. Trait number 3, they read people with weird accuracy. Another strange trait that proves the INFJ is smarter than they appear is their almost uncanny ability to read people. While most people understand others based on what is said out loud, INFJs understand people based on everything beneath the surface. They pick up on the things people do not explain, the emotions they try to hide, and the subtle details that reveal someone's true intentions. INFJs do not learn this skill through practice. It is part of how their mind works. When they meet someone, they automatically observe tone, posture, energy shifts, emotional patterns, and inconsistencies. They notice tension behind a smile or fear behind a joke. They sense when someone is pretending to be confident or when someone is trying to hide insecurity. They can feel when someone's words do not match their real feelings. This ability often makes people feel like the INFJ just knows things. They can tell when someone is lying without any clear evidence. They can sense when someone is holding back emotion. They can predict how someone will react in the future based on subtle behavior in the present. This accuracy comes from intuition that is constantly gathering information, even when the INFJ isn't aware of it. This people-reading ability also helps INFJs understand relationships and social dynamics at a deep level. They can sense hidden tension between friends or coworkers. They know when someone feels left out, hurt, or overwhelmed. They can tell when someone needs comfort before the person even speaks. This sensitivity allows them to support people in ways that feel personal and meaningful. But this trait can also make life challenging. When INFJs sense too much emotional information at once, they become drained. Noise, conflict, dishonesty, or emotional imbalance affects them more than it affects others. They cannot ignore emotional discomfort, even when no one else notices anything wrong. This awareness can feel like both a gift and a burden. Another unusual aspect of this trait is that INFJs rarely misuse it. They do not read people to manipulate them. They read people to understand them. Their goal is to create harmony, not advantage. They want to help others feel safe and seen. Their intelligence shows in how they understand the emotional truth behind people's behavior, not just the surface actions. Because of their accuracy, many people trust INFJs more than they trust others. They feel understood, even without speaking. They feel safe enough to open up. They see that the INFJ can sense things that others overlook. This trust makes INFJs the person people come to when they need clarity, comfort, or emotional truth. This weird accuracy is a clear sign of intelligence. It shows that the INFJ's mind sees beyond what is visible and understands people in ways that most cannot explain. Their insight is not loud or forceful, but it is powerful and often life-changing for the people around them. Trait number 4. They learn through insight instead of repetition. Another unusual trait that proves the INFJ's intelligence is the way they learn. Most people learn by repetition. They practice over and over until the information sticks. But INFJs often learn through insight. They may struggle at first to grasp something because they are searching for meaning instead of memorizing steps. Once the deeper idea clicks, however, they understand the entire concept quickly and completely. This creates a strange pattern in school or work settings. INFJs may look slow in the beginning, then suddenly jump ahead of everyone else. They need to see the why behind something before the how makes sense. When they finally connect the idea to a bigger meaning, everything becomes clear. Their mind works with understanding, not repetition. This insight-based learning shows up in many parts of their life. When INFJs learn a skill, they want to know the purpose behind each step, not just the method. When they learn a rule, they want to understand the principle behind it. When they learn information, they want to see how it fits into the larger picture. They do not want to memorize facts. They want to see how those facts connect. Because of this, INFJs often excel in areas that require interpretation, creativity, emotional intelligence, or pattern recognition. They understand stories, symbolism, themes, and psychological meaning faster than most. They connect ideas from different fields. They create new ways of thinking. They see possibilities, not just instructions. But this learning style can confuse teachers, employers, and even friends. People expect quick, straightforward responses. They expect the INFJ to follow steps without asking questions. They expect the INFJ to memorize details without caring about the bigger picture. This does not work for the INFJ mind. They need clarity, purpose, and emotional connection to fully understand something. Once they understand it, though, they rarely forget. The information becomes part of them. They can recall it easily because it is linked to insight, not memorization. This creates deep understanding instead of shallow learning. This learning style also appears in their emotional growth. INFJs reflect on experiences, learn from mistakes, analyze why something happened, and apply that insight to the future. Their ability to grow through introspection shows a form of intelligence that many people lack. They do not need the world to teach them the same lesson twice. They understand deeply the first time and move forward with greater awareness. What seems like weird learning behavior is actually a sign of advanced intelligence. INFJs need meaning because they think on levels that most people do not reach. Once they understand the meaning, they can learn faster than almost anyone. Trait number 5. Their imagination solves real problems. Another weird trait that proves INFJs are smarter than people think is their ability to use imagination as a real-world problem-solving tool. While most people imagine things for entertainment or escape, INFJs imagine to understand, analyze, and create solutions. Their inner world is filled with scenarios, outcomes, emotional details, and symbolic meaning. But this imagination is not fantasy, it is strategy. INFJs use imagination to run mental simulations. When faced with a difficult situation, they imagine how different choices will affect people emotionally. They imagine what might happen days, weeks, or years later. They imagine how a relationship will change based on current behavior. They picture possible futures and choose the one that feels right or makes the most sense. This mental simulation ability is unusual because it allows INFJs to predict problems before they happen. They can sense when a situation is heading in the wrong direction. They can see when someone's actions will lead to emotional conflict. They can anticipate misunderstandings and offer advice that prevents them. This ability makes the INFJ seem wise beyond their years. Their imagination also helps them create solutions that others cannot see. While most people think in literal steps, the INFJ sees symbolic patterns and emotional themes. They use creativity to understand what a problem truly represents. They see the emotional roots behind a conflict, not just the symptoms. They imagine solutions that go beyond logic and into emotional truth. This imaginative intelligence also makes INFJs strong storytellers, writers, advisors, and planners. Their mind creates deeper meaning out of simple events. They can take a small idea and build a full, meaningful picture out of it. This skill helps them solve problems at work, support loved ones, understand personal struggles, and navigate complex situations. People often mistake this kind of imagination for daydreaming or fantasy. But INFJs use imagination the way some people use analysis. It helps them understand the world. It helps them see possibilities. It helps them design paths that others overlook. It helps them understand themselves and others at a deeper level. Their problem-solving imagination also explains why INFJs often know what is coming before anyone else does. They have already imagined the emotional outcome and analyzed the hidden patterns. They are simply following the path their intuition and imagination already mapped out. This weird trait is another sign of intelligence that many people underestimate. While others think the INFJ is just quiet or dreamy, their imagination is actively shaping solutions, predicting outcomes, and analyzing life in ways that most people never notice. Trait number 6. They stay calm. While their brain works fast, another strange trait that proves the INFJ is smarter than people think is the way they stay calm on the outside while their mind works incredibly fast on the inside. Most people show their thinking through their actions, expressions, or words. They talk quickly, react quickly, and make their thought process visible. But INFJs are the opposite. They process quietly, internally, and deeply. Their calm appearance hides a mind that is moving at high speed. When an INFJ faces a problem, they do not panic or rush. They take a moment of silence. They look still. They look relaxed. They may seem like they are doing nothing. But in that silence, their mind is running through layers of information, analyzing outcomes, sensing emotional factors, recalling past patterns, and searching for the deeper meaning behind the situation. This internal process happens quickly and efficiently, even though the INFJ appears calm. This calmness often leads others to underestimate them. People think the INFJ is slow, indecisive, or unsure simply because they do not respond immediately. But the truth is that the INFJ does not react. They reflect. They do not jump to conclusions. They examine everything quietly until they find the right answer. And when they finally speak, their response is thoughtful, accurate, and surprisingly deep. This trait becomes especially clear during conflict or chaos. While others panic, argue, or rush into decisions, the INFJ withdraws into a calm mental space. They observe. They process the emotional temperature of the room. They consider how each decision will affect everyone involved. They see the larger picture while others focus only on the moment. This ability to stay calm under pressure is a powerful form of intelligence that many people do not recognize. INFJs also think quickly in emotional situations. When someone is upset, the INFJ does not scramble to figure out what to say. They already understand the emotional landscape. They know what the person needs to hear. They sense the underlying cause of the emotion. Their mind has already analyzed the situation before they speak a single word. This fast internal processing also shows in creative or intellectual environments. When someone presents a new idea, the INFJ's mind immediately begins exploring deeper layers, possible outcomes, and connections to other ideas. They may not respond right away, but when they do, their insight feels surprisingly advanced. They bring ideas together in ways others did not consider. Another part of this trait is emotional regulation. INFJs feel deeply, but they rarely show emotional chaos on the outside. They know how to stay grounded. They know how to manage their reactions. They know how to express themselves calmly, even when their emotions are intense. This type of emotional intelligence is rare and shows maturity that many people mistake for coldness or distance. People often assume that calmness means simplicity. But for INFJs, calmness is a sign of control, awareness, and cognitive depth. They do not need to show their intelligence for it to be real. Their mind works fast, but their body stays still. Their thoughts race, but their face remains calm. This quiet mental speed is one of the clearest signs that INFJs are far smarter than others assume. INFJs are often misunderstood because their intelligence does not look like what most people expect. It is not loud. It is not competitive. It is not about showing off or proving a point. Instead, it is quiet, deep, and built on insight that goes far beyond the surface. Their unusual traits, intuition, pattern recognition, emotional accuracy, layered thinking, problem-solving imagination, and calm mental speed, make them far smarter than people realize. These traits come together to create a kind of intelligence that is unique to the INFJ personality. They understand people with surprising clarity. They solve problems before others even notice them. They think in ways that feel unusual, but reveal deep truth. They process emotions and patterns faster than they express them. They see meaning where others see randomness. They move through life with a combination of sensitivity and strategy that very few people possess. Being an INFJ means having a mind that works quietly but powerfully. It means reading situations deeply. It means thinking with purpose. It means connecting ideas in ways that others overlook. It means having a kind of mental depth that many people underestimate until they experience it firsthand. If these traits describe you, then you carry a form of intelligence that is rare and valuable. You may not always feel understood, but the way your mind works is something to appreciate, not hide.